Secretaries of the UK and Australia.
Yep.
What did you talk about?
Very pleasant. Talked about how you make the boat go faster, and what they were seeing in Australia and the UK. And one of the big issues actually they talked about was capital formation and how we can use capital to make the economy more productive.
And was there any talk about perhaps asset price bubbles in Australia with the housing market or even in China and the effects that they could have?
Yep, we discussed those issues.
And what?
Well, we just recognise that they are issues. I mean, one of the reasons why it's very important you don't get housing bubbles is you end up, if you do, in the situation as Ireland's finding itself now.
And how dangerous are these issues?
Well, I don't want to comment on Australia because I'm not the expert in it, but I certainly asked them whether they thought that was an issue and how they thought that might play out.
And what did he say?
Well, it's probably not for me to comment verbatim, but we all acknowledge that there's been very high and rapidly increasing house prices in Australia and parts of Australia.
And is he worried about that?
Well, I wouldn't want to put words in his mouth.
What about in China?
Well, again, I think if you can look at the Chinese government's been taking steps to try and solve that issue, ultimately limiting house purchases to one house, I think, per person at the moment. So they are taking steps to address what they perceive to be a problem.
And you want New Zealand to get onto that China train. Will this perhaps slow down our growth?
No, I mean, from our point of view, we're facing different issues. And so our issue, I think, is how we can grow the productive sector and the tradable sector of New Zealand. I mean, that's a sector that's been in recession for a long period of time. It's a sector that's shed jobs. We know that we should be doing a lot better there. We know that commodity prices are supporting New Zealand growing its export volume and value, and that's what the government's focused on.
But can we still grow that tradable sector if there's a slowdown in both Australia and China?
Well, it makes it more difficult because clearly a lot of big markets, number one is Australia and number two is China. So that's, as I've noted in my speeches before, there are some externalities which are beyond our control, but we would obviously hope that there is a strong Australian economy and a strong Chinese economy to support our economy.